Did you think mentally, right? The mental game of being able to detach and be able to take a step back, and as a fighter pilot, did you just say, "Oh, this is what it's like as a fighter pilot. This is what it's like. Oh, I remember what it's like landing on an aircraft carrier. I'm going to be stressed out. Oh, I need to overcome that." Did you just apply the same mechanisms to, all right, now I'm going to be stepping foot on the battlefield, and this is how I need to apply the same mentality, the same mechanisms?
I had enough experience with being scared and controlling the fear that comes along with things that are scary, that it looked different, it smelled different, it sounded different, but the feeling was exactly the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So that's what I was, like I said, that's why it's a softball, because I'm imagining that, even for us, okay, so let's say free fall, like you're going to free fall. Well, you're jumping out of an airplane, and I thought I would be more scared the first time I jumped out of an airplane, but I was actually pretty pumped, so that's not a great example. But there's times in the SEAL teams where you do something in training where you're like, okay, this is a little bit sketch, right? This is a little bit sketch. And, what do? You do the same thing. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I've practiced it. I've rehearsed it. I'm going to execute this thing, and we're going to make it happen. Yeah. And you learn how to do that. So when you get in combat, you have a protocol to follow to take that. So if you're good, now we see people that they have the protocol and they aren't able to apply it to the situation.
Yeah, I never really freaked out when I was there. The reality was, this is a lot closer to me than I thought it was going to be. The reality was, it hit me harder than I expected, and my preparation wasn't where it needed to be ready for it. But when I got there, I knew that feeling, and I felt that several times in my career. And the response to it is it's all the same. And one of the best things about responding to those situations is that as a leader, you're really busy. There's a lot to do. You've got a lot going on, a lot of decisions you have to make, a lot of things you have to be aware of. And that's actually one of the best remedies for all that. And, it's probably really tough for someone really junior in the organization that may feel like he doesn't know what's going on, doesn't have a real sense of those things. I was never really bored.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You didn't have time to think
You didn't
about
have
it.
a lot of time. Now, I know the feeling. I felt that feeling. And it's like, man, this is a lot different. I'm in a Humvee. I can't see things I'm used to being able to see. My situational awareness is different. How I gather information, all that is different because the environment's different. The feeling is the same and the response is the same. And like I said, I had the luxury, if you want to call it that. I was always busy. I always had stuff going on. I had always things to do. I didn't just sit there and think, wow, this is terrifying and scary and I don't know what to do. It's in the aftermath, I'd look back and go, man, that was crazy. I remember I have this very vivid memory of doing what we called them presence patrols. So we take a couple of Humvees and cruise around. And in this case, it was the town. It was called Tamim. It was a little town in Ramadi there on the south side, and just a nasty place, just not a good place. And a presence patrol is really you're just waiting to get shot at. And we would weave in and out of the streets, and the buildings are 2-3 stories high. And we pulled up to an intersection, and we're the second vehicle in this 2-vehicle patrol. And the vehicle turns, and as soon as the vehicle in front, 2 vehicles.
Get some.
Yeah, get some. Yeah, we're number 2. Let's get some. The first vehicle makes a right-hand turn, and as soon as he turns right, a guy with an RPG, I can see him up, right at my 12 o'clock position, and it goes over the hood of our vehicle, hits the wall. It doesn't detonate, but I think I might have mentioned this before. And I'm just yelling, go, 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 go. And those are the stories that when you look back in the aftermath, I'm like, man, that was crazy. But at the time, you don't really spend a lot of time.
Yeah, you're saying you're
like,
go,
you want to go to the right.
well.
Hey, and you're on the radio. Hey, where's the other vehicle? Hey, this is what just happened. You're talking, you're communicating, you're doing all the things you're supposed to do. So you can look back on those things. And a lot of times I look back on it like, man, that was out of control. That was nuts. But during those times, even some of those terrifying experiences, I was just too busy to really worry about it. And I was making decisions. And I think as a leader, that's actually good, because I don't want to sit there and think about all these things that are scaring me. I want to just respond to it and just make a decision and do something. And I actually had a lot of time in my career where I got very comfortable making decisions in difficult environments very quickly. That's aviation in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. And so I think I was able to adapt to that very quickly. And that's part of the reason why I was able to get through that deployment the way that I did. I had some decompression. We talked about that after the fact, but not a lot while I was there.